Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the college football pregame show. You probably get the gist by now. We're doing one conference every week, the whole season for that conference. Also, last week, the MAC video got 4 views compared to the 37 at the time of recording for Conference USA. So I can scientifically conclude that MAC fans are not as good as CUSA fans. We're going to change the structure a little bit for the Mountain West this week. Instead of me talking about the teams as I pick, I'm just going to explain my opinions and what I've learned from studying the teams, one team at a time. The timestamps should be showing for that, and then I'm going to go make the picks. We'll just head right into it. We got Air Force is the first team we're talking about. We're doing them in alphabetical order. Troy Calhoun is in year 20 as a head coach. I guess despite some recent struggles, I don't doubt him. Excellent coach overall. He also brings offensive coordinator Mike Thiessen. He came with Calhoun and is the longest tenured offensive coordinator in the FBS level. However, they did bring in a new defensive coordinator. He was not good at UAB last season, but that's kind of like saying Robert Saleh wasn't good with the Jets. That could mean that Robert Saleh is not a good coach. At the same time, it's just as likely to mean that Robert Saleh was with the Jets. So, not going to blame any defensive coordinators for poor performance at Alabama Birmingham. Looking at the offense, the quarterback, Sarka, he got 1,294 yards last year, so not bad at all, but maybe not as good as you want. This conference, the Mountain West, has lost a lot in the last season. I've decided it's not as good as the Sun Belt because I'm doing it before the Sun Belt. But the caliber of play isn't bad either. It's just maybe a little lower floor than it used to be. Therefore, having a mediocre offense may not do it. Outside of Sarka, there isn't really much to look at. There's only one wide receiver or tight end who had a reception at the FBS level last year. The O-line, I guess, overall is pretty good. I'm not excited about the running back room. Although, it's hard to measure stats for the O-line. From what I was able to tell from the limited amount of research I did, it seems like an all-right O-line. It's a weak offense overall. The defense isn't much better. Really, the only standout player I see is Blake Fletcher, 108 tackles last year, but he doesn't have much help in the linebacker room. Overall, I'm not very excited about Air Force. Now, moving on to Hawaii, Timmy Chang is going into year 5. He's been a great coach for the Rainbow Warriors. Overall, very good. I got to stop saying overall. Very good coach. And the offense I'm very excited about. Micah Alejado is back after a 3,100-yard season, 66% completion percentage, and 24 touchdowns. He is my pick for conference MVP. I believe he's an excellent quarterback. Very excited to see what he can do back for another year at Hawaii. The running back room's all right. Barfield got 371 yards last year. Bufele Ashlock got 827 receiving yards last year. Very good. And overall, it's just a really good pass offense. I like this offense. However, the defense is my main concern for Hawaii this year. At corner, outside of Palmer with 51 tackles, there's really nothing much. The front 7 aren't terribly exciting, and they don't seem to have a kicker. It looks like they're going to move a punter to the kicker position, but still a very good team. If the defense can just hang on, Hawaii wants to play Big 12 football this year. They want to win games 52-49. So if the offense is that high-powered, then they could absolutely do very well this year. Next up is the Nevada Wolfpack. There have been a lot of struggles under Jeff Choate coaching. Let's see. They did bring in a new offensive coordinator and Brett Bartolone. The offense I'm not excited about. This doesn't seem like it's a great offense. Jones threw for 1,001 yards with a 3-4 touchdown to interception ratio. Herschel Turner did rush for 350 yards, I guess. Cheers and Doss are an explosive wide receiver pair, but again, I'm not sure they have anyone to throw to them. So I'm not looking forward to watching this offense play. The defense is a little better. You got Dylan LaBarbera. If I said your name wrong, I'm sorry. 88 tackles at linebacker. They're moving him to defensive end. And Joe McFadden's a good kicker. I like the special teams. The secondary is a bit of a concern for me. So we'll see. Nevada should be pretty mediocre in this conference this year. Next up, we got New Mexico. Oh boy, New Mexico. Going into this video, I hadn't studied the Mountain West very much. I did see that CF Budge, also a YouTuber, college football YouTuber, was all over New Mexico. He said they were going to go to the playoffs. He said they're going to win the conference, no doubt about it. And I thought, no way. New Mexico, I'm sure they're good, but I don't see them going to the playoffs. And now I'm very convinced that they will at least be in a very good position to go to the playoffs. Starting with Jason Eck, he's a great coach, one of the best in the conference. He is my pick for Conference Coach of the Year. The offense is sensational. You got Lane threw for roughly 2,500 yards last year. You got two 200 and 300-yard running backs coming from last year. You got a pair of 500-plus receiving yard receivers. Cade Keith's a really good tight end. Got a lot of receptions. I love this offense. Even the O-line looks great. This is going to be good. New Mexico will be good this year. It's the defense that I'm concerned about that may prevent them from, making the playoffs. They didn't have a D lineman with 3 or more sacks last year, which isn't a terrible stat, but if you're going to be contending for a playoff spot, that's what you probably ought to have a better D-line than that. The secondary is pretty mediocre. Special teams is all right. However, the linebacker room has quite the star in Jackson Eck, the coach's son. And let me tell you, he's on the team for reasons other than he's the coach's son. He got 128 tackles last year. He's going to be very good. He is my pick for Conference Defensive Player of the Year. Altogether, a very good team in New Mexico. Can't wait to see what they've got for us this year. Next up, North Dakota State. Very fun team to talk about. They're coming into their first year as an FBS program. Unfortunately, they couldn't finish their very long stint in the FCS with a national championship. So the coaching staff, Tim Polasek, does have a natty under his belt. Dan Larson's a really good offensive coordinator, and his offense is going to be very good even at the FBS level. I am a bit concerned at Nathan Hayes at quarterback, only a 57% completion percentage. So he is questionable in my opinion. DJ Scott rushed for 500 yards though, and he wasn't the running back one. Reese Kessel, the tight end, 15 receptions last year, pretty modest, for 335 yards. That's over 20 yards per reception. Even at the FCS level, that's pretty good. And the O-line should be very, very nice. However, the defense, I'm not as confident in. There were a few stats missing on the website I used, so my research from other sites may not be as in-depth. But the D-line didn't put together too many tackles last year. There were no safeties with more than 30 tackles, I specifically noted, that's pretty achievable stat in the FCS as a safety. Now, I do acknowledge that a lot of these guys were backups or number 2s to really strong players who transferred out, so it's very possible that a lot of this on-paper defensive weakness may just come from lack of experience. If the defense isn't explosive, then I don't think North Dakota State is going to be able to make quite the debut they want to, even if I have little doubt they can make a bowl game. Now, Northern Illinois, who shouldn't be in this video, I am still confused as to why they left the MAC for the Mountain West, especially considering how trash they look like they're going to be going into this season. Rob Harley is the interim head coach. I'm sure he'll be good because Thomas Hammock, who you probably remember, who beat Notre Dame, he left to be the running backs coach for the Seattle Seahawks. Rob Harley is the interim. I'm sure he'll be fine. They got a new hire in Peterson, an offensive coordinator. Their website didn't list a defensive coordinator. I couldn't find one, so I'm a little confused as to what's going on there. I think Rob Harley still has defensive coordinator duties. There's still no decision as to who the head coach is going to be going into the season. It's probably just going to be Harley, though, at least for a few games. The offense, I'm very concerned with Davidson at quarterback. He threw 40 completions in 87 pass attempts, which means his completion percentage is roughly 43 or 44% if my top of my head math is okay. So the pass game, big concern for the Huskies. Kelly Johnson did rush for 600 yards last year, so fairly good. They should be able to get by with that rush game. The defense, I am very worried about. They have one linebacker with more than 10 tackles last year. They have one corner with more than 10 tackles last year. And one safety with more than 10 tackles last year. That's terrible. That's just atrocious. And even their special teams isn't. They don't seem to have a very experienced kicker. I actually don't remember why I wrote down. I just gave the special teams a D and then forgot why I did that. Didn't write it down. I'm assuming it's not good though. And then I used in rebuild mode. They picked a bad time to jump to a new conference. Their first year in the Mountain West will not be fun. But someone who will hopefully have a little more fun this year is Nevada, Las Vegas, the UNLV Running Rebels. I think they're just the Rebels. They've got none other than Dan Mullen, still the head coach. He's been very good at the G6 level. It's the G6 now. And he's got a fairly good offense under him. Now, what's interesting is they have Jackson Arnold at quarterback. I don't know how good he's going to be at this level. Could be pretty solid, could not be very good at all. We'll have to see. They do have several receivers in the 1 to 300 yard range from last year, so he does have some people to throw to. And who is the driver of this offense, Jaden Thomas, rushed for 1,000 yards last year. He'll be very good. The defense is also pretty solid. I'm a bit concerned with the defensive line. Only one D lineman with multiple sacks last season. Aluwalu Tuiolomotu, I think I got that right, is the only linebacker with more than 30 tackles. There is Jake Pope at safety. He got 80 tackles last season. But the secondary is a bit of a concern for me. Overall, pretty average defense. UNLV should be pretty good this year. Definitely not terrible. I skipped one in alphabetical order. Whoops, I skipped San Jose State. They're next. Oh, poor San Jose State. They used to be really good at football. They're no longer really good at football. Coach Ken Niumatalolo, has seen some major regression as the head coach of the program. They did bring Luke Weaver, the backup quarterback to Mike Elahado last year from Hawaii. He's pretty questionable, not because he's necessarily bad, but he's not experienced. We haven't seen him play enough. Should be all right. There is Anderson receiving 361 yards, pretty good. The running back room's quite a big question mark. O-line's kind of average, I guess. I'm not sure about this offense, and the defense is worse. They didn't have a linebacker with more than 30 tackles. They only had one corner with more than 10 tackles. They didn't have a safety with more than 10 tackles. This is a program in rebuild mode, and it might be objective survive for Coach Niumatalolo. Next up, UTEP, also a new addition to the conference, left Conference USA. Scotty Walden is yet to crack 4 wins as head coach. However, this offense did bring in a lot of talent from the FCS, which could really do well. It's a newer strategy for the team. They got E.J. Colson, who had 71% completion percentage, 2,142 yards, and a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio in the FCS. So I think he should manage in the Mountain West level. They also have the receiver Carver Cheeks from Northern Colorado. 929 receiving yards, very good. The defense is a little less exciting. They didn't have any D linemen with three or more sacks, so not a terrible stat, but maybe not great. They do have Jackson Wilson, linebacker, 92 tackles last year in Conference USA. There's Content with 58 tackles and 6 pass deflections at corner. I hope he's content with those stats. Sorry, I'm really sorry about that one. That sucked. And you got safety, you got Smith with 60 tackles last season. So overall, fairly average. UTEP, honestly, should be better than usual. They're not always a great program, but I think that this should be one of the better years. If they're lucky, they might even make a bowl game. I would like to see the fans in the Sun Bowl have a good time. They don't get to do that a lot. So wishing the best for UTEP. And lastly, Wyoming, the Wyoming Cowboys. Jay Soffel has not held the program together at all after Craig Bohl's retirement. Bohl had the program running at a pretty high level in the mid-2010s, early 2020s, and then he retired in 2023. His son, Aaron Bowl, is currently the defensive coordinator. The offense looks excellent. Tyler Hughes threw for 2,300 yards in the FCS and 20 touchdowns, going with only 3 interceptions. Very good. Markel Holman had 1,000 rushing yards in the FCS level. I believe he's at Western Illinois. The wide receiver room I'm not as confident in. There's only one receiver in there with triple-digit receiving yards last season. The offensive line looks pretty bad, too. The defense only has 2 sacks total in the defensive line last year. Stolzatz had 40 tackles last season, making him the best linebacker. Hearns is the only corner with more than 10. Thomas with 46 at safety is about it. They've got a couple good players, but they just need help. They need more people who are good at what they do. And that's going to do it for Wyoming. We'll get right into the picks now. Starting in Week 0, Hawaii and Stanford, always a good game. Last year, Hawaii won with Micah Alejado hopping on one leg, and a kicker who learned to kick with YouTube kicked the game-winning field goal. And Stanford looks really bad this year. From what I know, I'm taking the Rainbow Warriors. USC should clean the Spartans' clock, especially in the Rose Bowl. And Memphis at UNLV. In case you couldn't tell, I am a Memphis fan. UNLV looks pretty good. UNLV looks like a really good football team, in fact, under Dan Mullen. And Charles Huff is only in his first year coaching the Tigers, so there may be limits to what he can achieve. The game even is in Las Vegas. And for those reasons, I'm picking Memphis, obviously. Now, some of you may be saying, that seems like a very biased pick. I don't think he picked that one objectively. I think he's just picking Memphis because he wants Memphis to win. And to those of you who are saying that, I would tell you that you're absolutely correct. Now moving to Week 1, Northern Illinois at Iowa, that should be a good win for the Hawkeyes. Air Force can handle Duquesne. I picked Eastern Michigan to beat San Jose State in MAC week. I'm definitely sticking with that. UNLV at Hawaii is going to be a good game. Those are, I feel like, the two teams that really stand a chance at competing with New Mexico for the conference title this year. The game is all the way out in Oahu, but UNLV is such a good football team. I think I'm taking Vegas. I think I'm taking the Rebels. You don't bet against Vegas, really. North Dakota State is an FBS program now, and good FBS programs don't lose to FCS programs. Am I right, Middle Tennessee? And I picked Western Kentucky to beat Nevada, even though the game was in Reno, Conference USA week. I'm going to stick with that pick, and I'm also going to stick with New Mexico beating Central Michigan in Albuquerque. And then Wyoming at Colorado State, still a rivalry if I'm not mistaken. Looking at Wyoming this year, I think I'm going to take the Rams. The game's in Fort Collins. Should be a pretty good game, considering that Wyoming's not as bad as they usually are. Still, I think Colorado State's got that one. Poor UTEP, they're looking a lot better, but I don't think good enough to beat Oklahoma in Norman. I'm going with the Boomer Sooners. Then UNLV at North Texas. North Texas doesn't look like they're going to be very good this year. Their entire team is now, really Oklahoma State is just all the good players from last year's North Texas. I'm sure they were able to rebound to some extent, but not enough to handle Dan Mullen's Rebels at home. North Dakota State at Air Force. If the game were in Fargo, I think that's an easy win for North Dakota State, but I'm not so sure about it against the Air Force Academy, against the Falcons, when the game is on the road. But I think I'm going to pick North Dakota State to win their first 3 games as an FBS program. And then I picked Hawaii to beat New Mexico State, definitely sticking with that. Nevada beats Montana State. Northern Illinois, I mean, I can almost see this one happening. I could really almost see Illinois State winning in DeKalb, especially because Illinois State is the team that knocked out North Dakota State last year. They're a very good FCS football program, and they've done it before. They've beaten better FBS opponents. I'm picking our first FCS over FBS upset of the series so far. I'm taking the Illinois State Redbirds to beat NIU. And I will not be taking Cal Poly to beat San Jose State, even though NIU is probably a little better. Then New Mexico should beat Mercyhurst. New Mexico gets that one easy. UTEP with a win. Wyoming with a win. I don't think any other FCS teams will be getting victories. Arizona drops NIU to 0-3. Michigan is, UTEP is no match for the Wolverines. I'm sticking with Nevada beats Middle Tennessee. I'm sticking with Central Michigan beats Wyoming. I'm sticking with North Dakota State beats Sac State. Fresno at San Jose State. I think I'm going to go with the Bulldogs, even though that should be a conference game. The whole Mountain West Pac split is throwing me off. Oklahoma might be New Mexico's only loss, and that game might even be a close game, but I don't think New Mexico's got that win in them. Easy rivalry victory for the Lobos. UNLV manhandles Akron. Nevada at home can take care of Air Force pretty handily, I bet. UTEP at home against Oregon State. If Oregon State is as trash as they were last year, just absolute garbage, then I would take the Miners. However, they have to improve to some extent. They probably have. Saturday Shenanigans would be very sad if I picked Oregon State to lose to UTEP. Also good football YouTuber and college basketball as well. You should check him out after you finish my video, after you finish mine. So I'm going to take Oregon State. I'm going to take the Beavs. Hawaii at Wyoming. Should be a pretty easy win for the Rainbow Warriors. NIU at Georgia State. These two teams Ryan McGee is going to talk about this one in his bottom 10. I'll guarantee you a whole 57 days before the season starts that this will be a feature matchup in Ryan McGee's weekly bottom 10. And I think I'm going to take NIU. I know it's on the road. I still believe in them to turn it around. And they'll probably even pick up the pace towards the end of the season. I just don't see them as a good team this year. Navy at Air Force. Game 1 of the Commander's Cup Trophy should be an easy, breezy win for the midshipmen. Hawaii at home. We'll take North Dakota State at home. Starting the season 5-0. UNLV versus Cal. I think I'm going to take the Rebels. New Mexico can handle UTEP. And now, after 5 weeks, it looks like we've got how many teams? We've got 5 teams, a whole half the conference with none or 1 losses. That just shows you that even after what could be seen as the top tier of the Mountain West left for the Pac, it's still a really good conference. Still fun to watch. Still a lot of good teams. Now, Arizona State will end Hawaii's exciting kickoff to the season. I'm going to take Air Force on the road against NIU. I think I might take San Jose at home against Wyoming. No, I won't. Wyoming's not that bad. UNLV will end North Dakota State's magical 5-0 start. And UTEP, I almost want to take, I'm going to take UTEP beating Nevada in the Sun Bowl. UTEP, again, as I said, they're not a bad team this year. I think they're going to be better than they usually are. And it's going to be fun to see what they have in store. Now, UNLV can beat Air Force. New Mexico to Hawaii, that's a bit of a trap game. Because you got to be so jet lagged. It's not fun playing games in Honolulu. And as far as you're concerned, if you're on mountain time, then that game is basically an 11 p.m., 12 a.m. kickoff. I might take Hawaii. If Hawaii's defense holds up, I think they can get the win here. And you know what? They probably can. I think I'm taking Hawaii to be 6-2, beat New Mexico. I'll take North Dakota State to beat Nevada. I'll take UTEP to beat San Jose State, giving them back-to-back wins. I'll also take Wyoming over NIU. Going into Week 8, I'm going to get Nevada, knocking San Jose State out of bowl contention. Hawaii with win number 7. New Mexico at home over North Dakota State, one of the best games in this conference, I bet. You got Wyoming at home against Air Force. I think I'll go with the Cowboys. Week 7, Nevada at UCLA. UCLA wasn't very good last year with Nico Iamaleava. Nevada isn't great either. I think I'm going to go with the Bruins. I might change that one with Big Ten. Air Force and UConn, I think I'm going to take the Huskies. Air Force is not as bad as that 2-6 record makes them look. But 5 wins is their peak, really, with the schedule they have. North Dakota State at home. should beat UTEP, giving them a 7-2 start. New Mexico on the road against San Jose State. UNLV's got a skip in the park against NIU. Army, I think, beats Air Force. Air Force is probably the worst team in the Commander's Cup this year, which means it will come down to the Army-Navy game. Very exciting. Then New Mexico at Nevada is a win. San Jose State at home against NIU. San Jose State's probably the worst team in this conference, but the game's at home. They got to beat somebody. Why not NIU? UNLV up to 8-1. UTEP, I think, can they beat Hawaii? No, I don't. I'm taking Hawaii on the road, which means after Week 10, you got UNLV is 5-0 in the conference. Then Hawaii and New Mexico both have one loss. And North Dakota State is 7-2. So the top tier of this conference, this is going to be really exciting to watch. Now, Air Force versus San Jose State. I think I'm going to take the Falcons. Hawaii and NDSU is going to be a Hawaii win. I'm pretty confident in that one. Especially, it's just so far to go from Fargo to Honolulu. It's just ridiculous. So, at home, yeah, Timmy Chang's Hawaii team really has one of the most unfair home field advantages in college football. I hope they can take advantage of it. I'm going to go with the Rainbow Warriors. Nevada beats Northern Illinois, who might not get 2 wins this year. New Mexico, I think, will beat UNLV, which means now we have 3 one-loss teams in conference play. Someone's going to have to miss the conference championship between Hawaii, New Mexico, and UNLV. So I'm really, that's going to be interesting. I do these schedules cold. I don't know who I have winning the conference championship. I know who I think the best team is. I got no clue how the tiebreaker rules are going to play out with my picks. UTEP at home, I'm going to give the win over Wyoming, making both of them 4-6. And now last 2 weeks of conference play, Air Force at home knocks UTEP out of a bowl game. North Dakota State gets 8-3. Hawaii, 10-win Hawaii? No. I'm going to take Nevada. I'm picking Nevada. Nevada's going bowling. Yeah. They're not bad. They're probably the best team that is not in contention for the conference championship. Like the top 4 here, North Dakota State, Hawaii, UNLV, New Mexico. That is crazy. North Dakota State, year 1, already in contention for a conference championship. It looks like they're going to miss. But, yeah. Then UNLV and San Jose State is going to be a win for the Rebels. San Jose State finishes 2-10. Rough year for the Spartans. I believe that was their record last year as well. And then New Mexico versus Wyoming. That's a bit of a trap game, but I think I'm going to stick with the Lobos. Viva los Lobos. My Spanish is not great. Which article do I use? Is it Los, Las, or Los? I think it's Viva los Lobos. Correct me, please, if you speak Spanish. Sacramento and Hawaii. I'm definitely holding on to that pick. Hawaii 9-3 finish. UTEP and NIU. These two, I don't want to pick NIU to be 1-11 because that's just weird. I usually think of them as one of the best MAC teams, but now they're one of the worst Mountain West teams. And you know what? They're going to debut in the conference 1-11. That's what they get for leaving Ball State and the Bronze Stalk Trophy. That's what they get. And UTEP will finish 5-7, better than they usually get. So kudos to UMass, not UMass, UTEP. UTEP finishes 5-7. Hopefully they do that good. Generally, what I think this project has really helped me do is that I feel connected to almost all of college football's teams. I'm rooting for everyone. I'm hoping everyone does well, except all of the teams which I hate as a Memphis fan, which is a very long list. But other than those teams, I'm really hoping everybody does well. So, yeah, best wishes to this whole conference. And then North Dakota State, 9-3. San Jose State playing 13 games like Hawaii used to do. Okay, San Jose State's 2-11. 9-3 is very good for your first year as an FBS program. So if my predictions are correct, good job, North Dakota State. And then UNLV versus Nevada. The game is in UNLV, which means on the scoreboard, Nevada will be abbreviated UNR, Nevada Reno, not Nevada. So, as always, that's going to make the Wolfpack fans mad. I don't know who to pick here. These are two good teams. At home, my instincts say UNLV, but it's a rivalry game, and weird stuff happens in rivalry games. But I think I'm taking UNLV. I'm taking New Mexico. I'm going to take New Mexico at home. And then I think I'm going to have Connecticut beat Wyoming on the road, which means at the end of the season, Northern Illinois 1-11, not winning a conference game. San Jose State 2-11, Air Force 4-8, Wyoming 4-8, Nevada 6-6, UTEP 5-7, North Dakota State 9-3, so is Hawaii, and New Mexico and UNLV will face off in the conference championship. Both of them 10-2, 7-1 in conference play. I had New Mexico winning the game in the regular season. I've picked the team that won the regular season matchup in the conference championship, which generally won't happen a lot. But, if it's really hard to beat any team twice, it's really hard to beat Dan Mullen twice. I'm taking UNLV to win the Mountain West and possibly be the group of 6 representative to the playoffs with an 11-2 finish. So just to recap, UNLV beats New Mexico in the conference championship. Coach of the Year prediction is going to be Jason Eck. Conference MVP, Micah Alejado of Hawaii. Conference Offensive Player of the Year, Jaden Thomas, receiver, UNLV. Defensive Player of the Year, Jackson Eck, linebacker, New Mexico. That's going to do it for the Mountain West. We will see you next Saturday for the Sun Belt.